How to make him fall in love with you. 5 important habits. My name's Mark and I'm presenting this to you on behalf of Clayton Max, who is the author of Infatuation Scripts. Firstly, I just got a quote for you. A girl should be 2 things. She should be classy and fabulous. That's from Coco Chanel. Whether you're looking for a long-term partner or you already have one, it pays to have the right habits in a relationship. The thing about guys is that they don't always know how to articulate what they want in a woman. So most men weren't exactly taught how to express their feelings while growing up. So it can be tricky sometimes for them to let their partner know about their emotional and physical needs. And this leads to all sorts of misunderstandings and unfulfilled expectations, which can put a wedge between the two of you. Luckily, I'm here to give you the inside track on how men think, drawing from Clayton Max's experience from helping his clients and so forth, and my own experience as well, being a married man who has a wonderful wife and a really great relationship. So here are the top 5 habits that make men crazy about you. All right, number 1, play hard to get. Okay, this might sound like familiar territory, but listen up. Typically, a lot of women and men try to make someone like them by putting on a bit of a detached, but I might be attracted to you kind of act, which isn't what we're getting at. Also, these women may wait for an arbitrary amount of time to reply to messages, like a couple of hours, a few days, etc., to avoid looking desperate. And worse, they'll pretend that they're busy, hoping that it'll make a guy more interested in them. And this approach tends to backfire. It's confusing, and worse, he'll eventually see through this stilted act. And this, of course, is a huge turnoff. There's no surprise, and no problem, in showing interest in a guy, and there's no need in this day and age to play silly mind games. There's nothing wrong with looking like you're interested. But instead, you can play a different kind of game, one built on authenticity. So you give your guy hints that you like him and be enthusiastic when you're together. Experts find that a person starts falling in love with someone once they actually knew that they wanted them. So as for playing the hard to get part, that means actually just being busy. It just means being genuinely, you are hard to get because you've got a busy and exciting life. You've got your work, your social life, your hobbies, other passions that just make you well-rounded and happy. And if that's what makes you unavailable from time to time, that's a good thing. Richard Wiseman, author of 59 Seconds to Change Your Life in Under a Minute, did some research on this. He found that people who were hard to get, they gave the impression that they're a scarce resource. However, they also had to be enthusiastic about the other person in order to be attractive to them. So that way, it put the subject in a more balanced and attractive light. So to discover the psychological triggers to activate a man's infatuation instinct, I highly recommend that you check out Clayton Max's Infatuation Scripts. I'll give you the link to that at the end of this video. But first, I want to get on to the next point. Rock his world. So, in a nutshell, you need to generate strong emotions within your guy while he's with you. He'll then associate those feelings with you, which naturally creates that spark. So in an MIT study, behavioral researchers found that people have a habit of transferring their feelings from one setting to the next. So what does that mean? For instance, if you nearly hit another car while you were driving to work, you'd carry those negative vibes into the office. That previous unrelated experience may bleed into the rest of your day. Some call this emotional misattribution or emotional leakage. This is the human tendency to attach strong feelings to the nearest person, even if they had little to do with it. Also, it has to do with the fact that being physically aroused can easily translate into a sexual attraction. So if you can find a way to keep things exciting for him, like doing sports or something physically intensive, then he'll latch those feelings onto you. Alright, so the next one, it's an oldie but a goodie, laugh at his jokes. Admittedly, a lot of women react to this piece of advice with a raised eyebrow, and that might be you too. But hear me out. This could be a game changer in your relationship. First of all, you don't need to be rolling on the floor with tears in your eyes if his joke has bombed, or if he gives you that dad joke, if he happens to be a dad, or what have you, depending on what age group you're in. But a polite little chuckle is perfectly fine, or at least a smile, and that gives him the hint that, well, he might not be entirely funny, but you are attracted to him. But if your funny bone really is tingling from his witty one-liners, then definitely go ahead and laugh. Studies show that humour is a huge factor in sexual attraction. As you already know, women like guys who are funny because it's a sign of intelligence, which is an attractive trait. But research done by Westfield State College, University of Western Ontario, and McMaster University state that they state that men preferred those who were receptive to their own humour, particularly for sexual relationships. This seems like it's not so much about treating a guy's ego with kid gloves, and more to do with a guy being desired to be appreciated by his partner. Trust me, I know plenty of guys who have appreciation as one of their must-haves in a relationship. Respect also being a must-have. So appreciating his sense of humour is a really, really good step in that direction. Now, next one. Find strength in numbers. According to several studies, you can be more attractive by hanging out with your friends. For instance, there's research from Tilburg University in the Netherlands and the University of California also that both document what's known as the cheerleader effect. This basically states that someone's perception of you changes favorably once you're in a group. On the surface, you might think it's because you appear more sociable and friendly. This makes you attractive without looking like you're trying too hard. But there's another angle to it. You see, the human brain has a habit of categorizing individual elements like shapes, objects, and people into a general group. It's mostly a hardwired survival trait, so that you're not visually focusing too hard on one thing, but rather the whole picture, and it's a time saver. But this instinct does also spill out into a person's social life as well. So in a practical sense, you can set your social media and online dating profile picture, for instance, to a photo of you featuring with a group of friends, just to make it clear that it's you're in the picture and you don't get lost in the sea of faces. You can be the most prominent person. But if you're looking to meet a guy in a bar or a party, then if you bring a squad, you've got a group of friends with you, social proofing, it's a real phenomenon. So you can use it to your advantage, or at the very least on that first date, you might mention how awesome your friends are and stuff like that, you know, and that you enjoy that social time and stuff like that. So the key though is to be authentic about it as well. Obviously don't just make stuff up, because that'll get you found out in the future. If you are a social person or you do have a tight little group of friends, just make sure that you spend a little more time with them, and then naturally you will have more to say about them anyway, and it's a good habit for your life overall and makes you more attractive to men. Alright, number 5, appeal to his sensual side. There's really no surprise here. Any guy who's interested in women will, most of them anyway, will want physical intimacy in the relationship. And you'd be surprised and probably concerned how many women are lacking in this department. A lot of them take for granted the power of their female charm to win a guy over. And no, I'm not telling you to start acting out some scene from an adult film to turn a guy on. What I'm saying is that you should be more aware of a guy's hot buttons and learn how to push them. For instance, women underestimate the power of physical touch. Most men go their whole lives not knowing the pure pleasure of a validated pat on the back or a hug or other forms of affection. Women, on the other hand, tend to experience this on a daily basis, so using body language is an excellent way to ignite his senses, whether it's just brushing his arm or leg accidentally against yours, or putting your hand on his arm for a few seconds, Remember, men love being teased and the delicious pleasure of the slow burn. Of course, men also appreciate variety. When it comes to the main event in bed, make an effort and take initiative to spice things up every now and then. Better yet, you could even go as far as asking him what he wants and then applying it in bed after, with your consent, of course. That would make for an interesting topic of conversation also, don't you think? One more thing, here's another trait I didn't mention earlier, but it's incredibly attractive to men as well. A study done at Rutgers University found a unique psychological trait in guys that they've dubbed as an emotional tripwire. Now, once you understand how this works and how to use it, which is super easy by the way, your guy will instantly enter a state of intense infatuation with you. It's like a splinter in his mind that he'll be incapable of thinking about any other woman in a romantic way except for you. So there's a free video presentation that explains this in shocking detail. So make sure that you're sitting down before watching it. What I'll do is I'll put the link on the screen. So you're going to discover how to use infatuation scripts to make him sure that you're the one for him. And what I want you to do is visit the link that you see on the screen. You just need to either type it into your browser or click it, because it may be below the video, and then you could click it and go right there. And I hope that these tips have been valuable to you, and I'll see you in a future video. Bye for now, everybody.